everyone, I'm here today with a weekly reading wrap up for you, or maybe it's more a monthly reading wrap up. It's a wrap up. So I've not been uploading, I've not been in a reading mood in June, which is great because if you saw my June TBR, it was a reasonable amount of books and I've just not been reading. I've put this down to a couple of things. First of all, I feel like I've gone off the idea of how I was doing my book reviews. It was good to begin with, but now I just find myself dreading actually getting ready and looking half decent just to film a short clip before I start a book and then finding the time to actually properly review the book afterwards. It's no longer working for me, so I'm going to swap back to wrap up. Second of all, I just want to quickly say I hope this isn't too echoey. I'm filming in the kitchen because it's really noisy out the back of my house today. Someone's having a bit of a barbecue / party going on and it's just a bit loud, so I thought I'd come this way and hopefully filter a bit of that noise out, but as a result we're a bit echoey, so sorry about that. Next, I will have a July TBR because I've reordered and resorted my Kindle, so I will actually end up having a different TBR to June, even though I've not picked up many of my June picks, as you will soon see, and that will be coming soon. I'm hoping that now that I've restructured how I'm going to film stuff and when I'm going to film stuff, and have tried to come up with some sort of pattern that will work, that things can start getting back to what is on my head book. Things can start getting back to normal now, hopefully. So I finished 2 books in the last week, or you could phrase it as I finished 2 books in the month of June. Yeah, my reading's going great, isn't it? I can't wait to start looking at things like the mid-year book freakout tag and my favourite books of the year so far. I've read some amazing books this year. I've just not read many books in total. I suppose that's the way you'd want to do it. A few amazing ones or loads of average ones. I know which I'd prefer, so I can't complain. So the first book I want to talk to you about today is Never Tell by Lisa Gardner, which is the 10th book in the Detective D.D. Warren series. This is the first time I've ever read a Lisa Gardner book. And it won't be the last, let me tell you. I loved this book. This follows a woman who, when she was younger, her father was murdered, and it's difficult to know whether she murdered him or whether someone else did. She actually took the blame for it and that she accidentally killed him with his shotgun by messing up loading the gun or something. I can't remember. I've read this book for nearly the entire month, so the beginning is a bit rough on me now. And then she actually doesn't get punished for it or anything or sent to prison, but then her husband also dies by being shot. And she gets to the point where like, how many accidents can this woman actually have? But this book was so twisty. I loved all the different paths and all the different theories it made me come up with as I was reading. It was really enjoyable. I will say that you don't need to have read the books beforehand in the series, like with many of them. It's not a necessary thing, but I will say that I feel like I wish I had, because I feel like I missed some little extra details that might have helped bump this up to a 5-star read for me. Another reason why this was a 4-star read and not a 5-star read is because I struggled in the beginning to just sort of really connect what was going on. The point of views jumped around quite a bit and I was just a bit like, what is going on? I was a bit confused, but then I settled in and it was okay. So I really enjoyed this and I highly recommend giving it a go. I'm trying to think whether there's anything else I wanted to say about it, but it's been a while. I really don't like reading books so slowly. I think if I'd read it quicker, if I'd got myself motivated to read quicker, I could potentially have ended up giving this a 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. I will say as well that I thought I'd got it correct. I thought I'd worked out what was going on. And then I found out I was wrong. But I wasn't drastically wrong. There was a bit of a further twist on the go that kind of finished my theory off that I hadn't come up with. So it was such a clever read. The other book I finished this month is a true crime novel, and that is I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I managed to say the name again. Wow. If you've seen some of my previous videos where I talk about this book, you will see why I'm chuffed that I actually managed to get the name correct. I listened to the audiobook of this. It's narrated by Gabra, Zackman, Gillian, Flynn and Patton, Oswalt. I think Gillian Flynn narrates most of it and it's really well done. My problem is that I think this book suffers from the sad fact that Michelle couldn't finish this book herself. It was a bit all over the place at times. I was fascinated, truly fascinated, and also totally creeped out. Little handy tip, do not listen to this audiobook while walking down a dark street late at night all alone. I am that idiot. I sometimes listen to audiobooks if I'm out late at night because I feel like I can still hear my surroundings if I'm out and about. Whereas listening to music's kind of a bit stupid because you can't hear if someone's about to sneak up on you. But an audiobook, I can still be aware of my surroundings. But yeah, this creeped me out. I'm not someone who gets creeped out easily by being out at night by myself. I live in quite a safe area. But I was creeped. In the end, I actually paused it because I was like, okay. And then all the way I was like looking over my shoulder because I was scared, quite frankly. This follows her hunt for the Golden State Killer. Or as the title suggests, one woman's obsessive search. And it is obsessive, but it's also incredibly fascinating. And her obsession over crime makes total sense. It's explained early on in the book, and I totally understand why she was so obsessed. My problem is, I don't understand why I'm so obsessed. And it did make me think about that a little bit. I was like, I do wonder why I'm so obsessed with crime. Is there something wrong with me? Because I hadn't got the sort of previous trauma that she could use as a reason. So yeah, this was some really interesting, really deep investigative journalism. And if you've never read this book, I highly recommend it. I do think it was a little bit dry in places, but that is understandable with the kind of subject matter that it is. I don't necessarily know if I'd recommend the audiobook. I really enjoyed listening and the kind of soothing voice that Gillian Flynn has, but like I said, it was really confusing. Everything jumps around quite a bit, and different narrators on top of that really adds an extra level of confusion that just, I was confused at times. I also fell asleep listening to this a couple of times, which is probably partly the audiobook's fault, because yes, I do tend to listen to audiobooks in bed sometimes if my eyes feel too tired to read, but I don't find it a problem where I'd normally fall asleep listening to an audiobook, so that also helps knock off a little fraction of the stars. So I gave this 4 stars out of 5. I highly recommend it all the same. If you're really into your true crime, if you're really into serial killers, this is definitely one for you to pick up. Briefly at the end here, I just want to mention that I did sort of finish a 3rd book during the last week or so. Basically, I read, or rather listened to Gary Barlow's audiobook, A Better Me, with my mum throughout most of the end of last year and the beginning of this year too, and finished it together. Another chapter's been added on, which, controversial in my opinion, you should not be adding a chapter on. It's wrong, it's incomplete, and it's conning your fans. But all the same, I'd got the audiobook of it, and so it was actually just added on for free. I think you'd be pretty annoyed if you've already bought like the hardback and you're thinking, well, I'm missing an entire chapter. Do I go and buy a new one? Do I just, try and borrow someone else's copy? I think it's a bit rude. It's about a 30-minute listen at like normal speed, so it's not long to get through if you speed it up. And I just wanted to mention that I listened to it, I enjoyed it, but if you were thinking about buying a new copy of that book just to get the final chapter, I really would not worry about it. It's not worth it, in my opinion, spending to get a short to medium chapter where nothing that interesting has been added on. It's more just a reflection. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in at the end here. I'm hoping that my reading is now back up to speed. I have been doing quite a bit of reading in the last day or so, and as I said, I've now come up with kind of when I'm going to film and just general pattern. I've come up with a routine for my life, so maybe you will be seeing more of me soon. That said, I'm not recording any more videos today. I'm leaving that for another day because I want to try and get this up by 6 p.m. today. We'll see how that goes. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me, and I will see you soon. Bye bye!